Oops, you accidentally sent out a $5 offer for a $50 item on eBay. Now, you meant to send out a $45 offer, but you were tired. It was late at night. Yeah, you're kind of going in and out of it, sending offers out on your phone, and you accidentally leave off the 4 and the $5 offer gets sent out. What can you do as a seller on eBay in that situation? What's your option? Can you retract that sent offer? We're going to get to that in just a moment, but let me make the situation a little bit worse. Let's say that you wake up the next morning and you realize you made a sale. You look at your phone, you're initially excited, you're like, yes. But then you realize that you just sold your $50 item for $5. Because the buyer accepted the offer and paid for it. So now what? Do you have to send it out because it was accepted and paid for? Is that the right thing to do, to send it out? Is that the proper customer service thing to do? And is that why you would send it out? You just bite the bullet, take the loss, and say lesson learned. Would you send it out because you're concerned about your seller metrics getting affected on eBay if you were to cancel it? And then risk a negative feedback, right? What do you do? What can you do? Well, if your answer is that you would send it out for all the reasons I just explained, let me change the situation further. Let's say that this is no longer a $50 item, but it's a $500 item. And you sold it by accident for $5 because you accidentally sent out a $5 offer. Now what? Are you still going to send this out and take a $495 loss because you're going to stick with the same principles and explanations I just mentioned? No, I don't think any seller would. Now, you tell me how you would handle it in the comment section, but I don't think any seller is going to take a $500 loss there. And if not, if the answer is different in the $50 versus the $500 scenario, then the way to handle it can't be based purely on principle. There's got to be a different logic going on there. So I'm going to explain to you how I would handle this type of situation, what your options are, and what you could do. And we're going to go over different scenarios here. Now, I'm going to share my screen with you here. The reason I'm bringing this up right now is because this topic was actually discussed earlier this week in my Facebook group, the Reselling Resource Center. If you're not a member, it's free to join. The link is down below. We have over 28,000 members there. We have lots of interesting discussions, fun selling events, all sorts of stuff. So come on by, check it out. But the scenario was raised about a $50 item that a seller had sold, but sold it for $5 because they accidentally sent out the $5 offer. And so the seller was looking for opinions on what to do. Well, the vast majority of sellers' opinions on what to do was to ship it out, or the vast majority of stated opinions was to ship it out and take the loss. Now, I understand that on some level because the vast majority of sellers that I have come across and interacted with are good people. They want to do the right thing. They want to provide great customer service. And I actually was in this situation many years ago where same thing happened. I sent out a $5 offer on a $50 item. It was late at night. So don't send your offers out late at night when you're really tired. Lesson learned there. A person accepted it, paid for it. I tried reaching out to communicate to the buyer, but the buyer wouldn't respond. I had one day handling, so I felt pressured and sent it out, took the loss. But it always bothered me because I felt like in that situation that I was taken advantage of by the buyer. Now, granted, it was my fault because I sent out the wrong offer, so I put myself in that situation. But I always felt that there should be some type of seller protection for that on eBay, and there should be a different way that we're allowed to handle that situation. So since that time, I've come up with a whole different way of handling these things. And part of my logic on how to handle this has to do with eBay's own policies, which we're going to get into right now. So if you look at eBay's policies for buyers regarding retractions of bids in auctions, as you can see here, and for offers, for best offers, you can see here that they are allowed to retract those offers. And the reason why they're allowed to retract those offers or bids is because eBay clearly recognizes here that people make mistakes. Buyers make mistakes. It says you accidentally bid the wrong amount. So for example, you meant to bid $20, not 200. That's obviously a very big difference. And over here, you submitted an offer for $99.95 instead of $9.95. So in those situations, eBay is not going to hold the buyer responsible for that offer or for that bid and not allow them to retract it if they recognize that. And most sellers that I know are not going to try to pursue a buyer who accidentally submitted a bid or an offer like that, where there's such a big giant discrepancy in terms of marketplace value and that sort of thing, because they know it was a mistake. They know it was an accident. So what does eBay have to say for sellers? Well, that's addressed over here. There's a little tip. It says if you're a seller, you can retract a counter offer through the manage offers page. A counter offer. Open the item, select manage offers, and select the counter offer you'd like to retract, and then select retract. But that's a counter offer. That's not the situation we're talking about here, in which the seller is initiating things by sending an initial offer to a buyer. So totally different. eBay doesn't address that here. Now, let's go over to an item where I sent an offer out today. So you can see here we got $14.99 tie, sent an offer out for $12.99. If you look now, this is not a counter offer. This is just a regular offer sent out to the buyer. I have no option here at all to retract it. Nothing. Doesn't matter. I could hit the drop down menu. All that does is close it. If I click on view offer history, that'll just bring up some information about the item. But there's nothing that I could do. Change offer settings. That's not going to do anything. Manage offers. Not going to do anything. There's nothing I could do. And I've confirmed with eBay in person, there is no option to retract an initial sent offer to a buyer. Now, that's something that needs to change. I did mention that, and I did suggest that, and I encourage anyone here who agrees with me on that to please put that in the comment section, because eBay staff do read the comments, and hopefully that's a change that could be made in the future. Because after all, my argument is that if eBay is going to recognize that buyers can retract offers and bids because of mistakes and accidents, well, we make them too. And so those policies need to be in better alignment. Doesn't really make sense that this is just allowed for sellers for counter offers. There's a big gap there with regard to that initial sent offer. Now, if you send out that initial offer by accident and you recognize that it was a mistake before the buyer accepts it and pays for it, what you have the option to do is to go into your listing, as you can see here, and just end it. End the listing. Because once you officially end it, the offer that you sent out is null and void. They can't do anything with it at that point. Now, you're going to lose all your watchers that you had on the item, and you have to relist it, but it's better than losing $45 or $495 on the item. So that's your option, ending it. You're not going to get penalized in any way by doing that. The buyer can't leave you a negative feedback. There's nothing they could do. That's how you got to handle that situation. But let's take it to the next level, okay? What if we get to that $49.99 item or $500 item, like you can see here? These are things from my store. What if I make a mistake here? What am I going to do? Person accepts it. Well, What I would initially tell you to try to do is to try to communicate with the buyer and explain the situation. Do not look at that as that you are trying to manipulate anything or that you're doing something wrong or you're doing something shady. No, you've made a mistake, just like buyers make mistakes, and they'll reach out to you sometimes when they do and tell you, oops, sorry, I made a mistake. How do I change it? How do I fix it? And you help them through that. Okay. Same thing here. There's nothing fraudulent about that at all. You're trying to correct a legitimate error. So you tell them what happened and you see if they'll respond. Now, sometimes they won't respond. We'll get to that in a second. But if they, sometimes they will respond and they'll work with you. I had this happen one other time and that's how I handled it. And the person wrote back, understood, because it was clearly a massive discrepancy between the offer and the item value. And, then we just worked out a deal afterwards and I sold it at regular price. Person left positive feedback. That's one option. Okay. But there are going to be a lot of buyers who are going to want to take advantage of the situation like I described and try to get that item for, that $499 item for $5 or for $49.99 or something like that. Here's what I would suggest you do in this situation. And I know some people are going to initially shake their head at this, but hear me out. Cancel the item. Okay. Here is your cancel section. Now, you don't have a lot of options here. I would not select buyer asked to cancel because that's not true. Buyer did not ask to cancel. They don't really give you good options on what to do here. So, and they need to add that in, which is another suggestion. Put that in the comments too if you agree. But out of stock or damaged, I would just put out of stock. Technically, my logic is, and admittedly it's a stretch, but say, well, it's out of stock for that price. Okay, because they're not giving me a good option on what to put here. Now, what I'm telling you here on how to handle this has been confirmed by eBay as what you should do in this situation. Because I've had this discussion with them, and I've had these discussions over the phone with multiple eBay staff members just to get consistency. And the consistent response is that they are not going to hold sellers responsible to ship out an item like this, where there's such a massive discrepancy when the seller sent out an accidentally massively low offer like that. They're just not going to hold you to it because, again, you have backup for this, for if you had to even argue this, but there's clear recognition here that mistakes happen. So what you would have to do is you would have to cancel the item and you could send an explanation out to the buyer, by the way, just so they know what happened. So try to prevent them, if you can, from putting in a negative feedback, because they can leave that initially. But I've confirmed this with eBay that they will remove that negative feedback if they leave it for that reason, because that's not a valid reason to leave a negative feedback, because you made a mistake in terms of the offer that you sent out. They also will not let that affect your seller metrics. They will work with you. You have to call. Now, I know some people watching have a very negative view of eBay and how they handle certain things, but in this situation, this is how you can handle this situation. I'm all for providing great customer service. I argue that a lot on the channel, and doing the right thing on behalf of your buyers, but this isn't the right thing. This is getting taken advantage of. This is losing massive amounts of money because you made a simple mistake. You don't have to do that. You don't have to lose your shirt because you made a mistake. So that's how I would handle it. Now, let me know what you think down below in the comment section, but I want you to keep this in mind for the future, because if you haven't made this mistake yet, chances are at some point it's going to happen. So try to remember this video, come back to it, take these different approaches, and this could help you out. Now, it's going to be a little bit different, obviously, if let's say it's a $16.99 item and you accidentally sent out an offer for $14.99. If you start going around trying to cancel things like that, you're probably going to have a problem. You have to be able to argue that there is a clear, huge discrepancy that is obviously an accident to any objective third party who would look at it. That's the thing. That's really the key. Okay. It has to just be blatantly obvious that Obviously, no one would send out an offer like that. So keep that in mind. And in addition to going over and checking out the Facebook group, also, especially now during Christmas time, this is a member of the channel here, John from Sergeant Red's Gaming and Vintage Toys. Not only has a great eBay store, but if you love toys and looking into like toy hoarder homes that he's come across, he's got an incredible channel. He's been on my channel before. He's almost up to 10,000 subscribers. Please go check him out. He's got all sorts of really cool toy items at great prices. The link is going to be in the description section and in the comment section. This is something that I do for all members of the channel. So I'll highlight you here on one of the videos, and I'll also highlight you in the Facebook group. We actually just had a member the other day who was highlighted, made $100 in sales in 24 hours just from being highlighted in the group. So if you're interested in joining, just click the join button right there, learn about all the perks, and then send me an email address to primetimetreasure@gmail.com to let me know that you have become a member, and send me your store link, and then that will let me know that you are a member, and I'll have the information to promote you. So I appreciate everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you at the next one.